the Bowers Tower, then Adu Awaye, and then Eleyele Lake. That's just 3 out of the 5 that have been chosen. That you can go and recreate, that you can tell friends outside of Ibadan or outside of your state to come to, so that they can have an experience of home away from home. So don't forget that you owe yourself that. And of course, information, that's where we all learn about what our government is doing, what is our role as citizens, what do we do to support government activities, and so on and so forth. So the 2 gurus that I have in the house today, wow, I could see that you already seen their faces, and they are known faces. To my immediate left is Prince Tunde Laoye. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for
How are
having
you
me.
today?
I'm fine, thank you.
You look brilliant.
Thank you, sir.
Wow.
Me too.
I can't believe I'm having you in this studio. But because you are an Oyo State citizen, you have to honor the call
Thank you, sir.
of your state, right? So it's Oyo State calling you here, not me, Tunde Odulade.
I feel honored too, sir. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. And to the extreme left is my big brother, all the way from Ikiti, the German, Alaba, Dele Morakio.
Thank you very much for showing me.
Wow, it's so nice to have the 2 of you. And I'm sure you didn't just come. There is one reason or many reasons why you have come today. And if I will let the cat out of the bag, I will say it is to come and shed light on what tourism is all about, what information is all about, and more importantly, in celebration of our big brother who just passed, an ace broadcaster, a broadcaster of note, some of whom we are the pioneers of NTA in the day, even from the days of WNTV, but just recently passed on. And I know you have plans as per celebrating this ace broadcaster sometime next week. Is that correct?
Yes.
What date next week?
Thursday, October 26, 2023.
Where are you?
At NTA premises, 11 a.m. in the morning till about 2 o'clock in the afternoon.
Wow. You must be missing him.
Yes. Someone like me was like a father
To you,
and a
right?
big brother that my mother did not give me. And to all of us, he was a big brother, friend, and family. And you know the way we were then, we were one big family, living in the studios all our lives. But someone like me nurtured me. I was in stage business. In fact, I knew him when I was in secondary school. He was doing some disco programs then. And we come, I was in Montenegro Grammar School. We come into the studios, we do our disco dance. I was a gold leaf competition boy then in secondary school, and I would come around dance with go. But after my A-levels in 1988, I got to meet him again. Yes, I started the dance troupe. You know those days we had the Aloore.
Yes, Aloore theater.
I
Yes.
started a traveling troupe with a great friend of mine who is also late now, Oju
Okay.
from Igbajo, and then we started this. And then we just ran into him at NTA one day and he said, you boys, you know the way he would mix English with Yoruba?
With
I
Yoruba,
said,
very, very,
these
very
boys, where have you been?
perfectly done.
You know? And he invited me to his office at Bodija. I remember then, Kifiko is often those streets.
Okay.
That was how, from state productions, he got me into TV producing. I was a production manager for a long time before he trained me to be a director and a producer. I remember I produced my first personally sponsored program, package program in 1989. And he
I
said, now
love
you are a
it.
full-blown producer.
Mm.
And from that moment, I started directing his works, and that's it.
Wow. My brother, Prince Lawi,
Yes, sir.
I think it is high time we let the cat out of the bag. Who are we talking about? A big brother, an ace broadcaster who served NTA from the days of Delhi TV and then later relocated to Abuja. We're talking about brother Tunji Fatilewa, popularly known as TF, the man from Usu.
From Oju
Oshu.
In Ilesha.
Yes.
That's
Yeah,
who we're talking about.
very
Some of
fun.
you who know who this gentleman was will be wondering, when did that happen? It happened about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago that he passed on after a brief illness. But thank God he left behind family, his wife and children. You know. So may his gentle soul rest in perfect peace.
Amen.
May his creative soul be reposed. So Tunji Fatilewa has passed on. Brother Dede,
Thank you, today. Well,
how do you feel?
bad, terrible. Tuja and I were friends for 46 years.
Wow.
We were virtually, met in Ibadan, did a lot together with NTA, NTV,
Wow.
then becoming NTA. When your state founded what was then called TSOS,
TSOS, yes,
It
that
was
is
the
service
so for your,
of your state.
which was the forerunner of BCOS.
Yes.
Tuji, transferred the services to TSOS.
From NTA.
From NTA.
Okay.
I later withdrew my own services from NTA and became a freelance producer
Okay.
with TSOS.
Okay.
And we went to Ife together, led dramatic
You mean
arts
University of Ife
Ife.
then?
Yes,
Now Obafemi
now
Awolowo University.
led dramatic arts together. Tuji specialized in directing. I specialized in playwriting. We came back to Ibadan together, did a lot of hustling together, relocated to Lagos together. When the wife was a senior staff with National Population Commission.
Okay.
So when the wife was transferred to the headquarters in Abuja,
Okay.
Tunji too followed in tow.
Family man.
Yeah,
Great family.
so- Well, my birthday was September 3rd. So when on September 3rd, Tunji, as was the tradition, wasn't one of the first three to call to
call
wish me
you?
happy birthday. Because I was aware he had been ill, bedridden, even confined to the wheelchair
Oh, really?
for
Wow.
about 5 or 6 months. I started feeling uncomfortable. My children brought, who are residents in town, came to visit me to cheer me up for my birthday. I still kept repeating it. And people to go me.
It will be me.
Is it kilo? Well, I just took my mind off it. Even my eldest daughter said, Shebi said you want to go to Abuja. You will see him there now. On the 4th of September, which was second day after my birthday, somebody called me and said, Mama ni Tunji ti wa ni coma. That was where my premonition started. Because once in Nigeria somebody goes into coma, it will take
Will
the
never come
extra
back.
grace
Wow.
for him to. So on the 5th of September, somebody called me and said, look, Dele, sorry, we lost Tunji.
Tunji, wow.
It was like I was poised to listen to the presidential election petition tribunal, judgment. But the moment I heard that Tunji, I lose Tunji,
Wow.
I went blank.
Anyone will.
Tunji was quite a phenomenon when it comes to TV production. Within a day of our announcing his demise, over 80 colleagues, friends, contemporaries had registered on the group platform.
So both at home and
abroad, the
diaspora.
diaspora, wanting to be part of whatever preparation was being made for Tunji's
fitting burial.
Well, the question today is, how do I feel? I feel terrible.
I know, I can feel, even me myself too.
I mean, somebody you've been friends for 46
years.
We've mounted hills, mountains, went valley to the valley, all over. But thank God, there are people who die. I want to atorundonwe. But we thank God, Tunji remains glorious
forever. Amen. Wow.
He was big in Ibadan. Anybody in his 30s, 40s in Ibadan who was watching television drama, who was
it is important we talk about some of his work.
Yes. I remember one of the very famous production of his was Torrents of Soweto.
I remember that vivid.
It was a full-length drama. Was so well received that the general manager of NTA then, Ambassador Dr. Yemi Faroubi, actually personally financed the publication of the drama of Torrents of Soweto. There was 414 Connection.
Yes.
There was In the Beginning. Yeah, look, he was both into musical production, he was into drama, he was into poetry, and all these qualities he continued with when he got to Abuja. And he was a pioneer chairman of NANTAP, that's National Association of Nigerian Theatre Practitioners.
Yes.
He was chairman of the FCT charter. Being strict disciplinarian, he really groomed the chapter to a phenomenon.
Wow.
Like he was himself. And we miss him.
Wow. Thank you very, very, very much. I can feel, your pulse, seeing the way you are talking about this person dispassionately. We know that the Yoruba proverb says, "Àmọ́ pẹ́ láyé àìfẹ́ kú ni." And báwo la ṣe fẹ́ kú tá a bá ní nǹkan tá a ṣe fẹ́ fún ayé? Ṣé ká sọ wípé ibi tí Túnjí Fátidé wá báṣẹ́ dé? Ṣé ká sọ pé ó fi ohun mánigbàgbé lẹ̀? Kí làwọn mánigbàgbé tẹ́ tún máa lè sọ? Bóyá ká tọ̀dọ̀ ọmọ ọba mu kí ẹ tó wá bá pẹ̀kẹ́lù.
Ẹ ṣeun bàbá, ẹ̀yin àgbàlá náà lè máa ń sọ wípé ìjọ akúdà dé o.
Ènìyàn sún wọn láàyè.
Ṣé rí bàbá wa tí ó papòdà yìí, wọ́n ti ṣe ohun mánigbàgbé tó pọ̀. Yàtọ̀ sí wípé àwa tá a jẹ́ ọmọlẹ́yìn wọn pé wọ́n ràn wá lọ́wọ́ láti lè ríra wa, láti mọ ohun tó jẹ́ ẹ̀bùn wa, our talents, and then apart from discovering us, yàtọ̀ sí pé wọ́n rí ibi tá a dá sí.
Tọ́dẹ̀
wọ́n rán wa lágbára, wọ́n develop wa to the point tó jẹ́ pé àwa náà ajénìyàn níbẹ̀. Why I said this is, he trained me as a full-blown producer, even before I went into UI to read theatre arts. My first degree, my master's degree, even my PhD, he guided me all through. And I remember that he relocated. Egbo talked about
Yes.
when they relocated to Lagos.
Lagos,
I was
yes.
serving in Katsina State then, which is why I could tell you proudly that all my life I've never written an application letter in my life. Courtesy of the person that actually, he was my mentor. I returned from my service in Katsina only to find a note slipped under my door at Tutu Garden, Agodi GRA, and he asked me to report to Lagos. I didn't need to ask. So when I told my parents, just said, you were at Ituji. And I resumed work the following day at Leo Studios.
Wow.
That is the kind of a person he was. Now, from Leo Studios, I came back from my master's degree. I started teaching in the department as a graduate assistant. And then Tunde Kelani had to bring me back to Lagos. And eventually I started working with an advertising agency when MTN, they got MTN.
Yes, I remember that.
I started with a brand for the first 6.5 years. I produced. These were things that Tunji Fatilewa will have me do. I didn't train as an advertising practitioner. I trained first as an actor. It made me a producer. I went into UI. I specialized in directing and media productions. But because those days TF would throw you challenges. Write me poems, write me scripts, By the time I got into the agency,
to prove,
and
your worth.
I had marketing MBA holders asking me questions on advertising, and I was replying them, and they asked, well, you read their ads. They said you read their ads. How come you know so much about advertising and marketing? And I said, TF, God bless you, sir. Because I read his books. He taught me everything, practical knowledge.
He wrote some books, by the way. Yes.
Yes. So eventually, that was how I held sway in advertising, to the point that I had to go for an MBA with LASU State University. LASU, that's Lagos State University. Now, where I'm going is this. Anytime TF had to do anything in Lagos, before I go into I did some productions for MTN, and I had to bring in TF from Abuja to be my line producer in Abuja. I did some productions that we needed to do in England and in the north, in the northern part, where I had to show Fulanis, rearing animals, and having connection as well in the northern part. TF was so, he would say, Ogami, I would say, TF, please. Because he was my Ogami, and will forever be my. In fact, I find it difficult to use him in the past tense. You understand? That is TF for you.
I understand.
He was humble enough to work with me.
Wow.
As a producer working for MTN.
Yes.
And anytime he came into Lagos and he had any production to do, we just say, today I have this to do, I'm using your equipment. He won't bring his equipment to Lagos.
It would depend on the
equipment. It would depend on my equipment, and when we got to location, he would just tell his client, well, today is my Oga. Before you know it, I'll be the one really doing the work for him and everything. And
my God.
That is what he taught me.
Wow.
He planted me on this path, and yet he still respected me as his colleague.
Yeah, I guess that's just, they say a leader is a servant of his own people. So if you are a leader, there's some element of service that you have to show that you are not on top of the person you are working with, or that you are serving. That's the attribute of a good leader, which I know he does. He had. Thank God for his life. Baba Dele Murakeo. Kí lẹ rí sọ nípa àwọn nǹkan ribiribi tí ọ̀gbẹ́ni Túnjí Fátiléwá filẹ̀?
Interesting. Túnjí was a very strong character.
Wow.
In fact, stiff, I should say.
Wow.
Highly disciplined. Flexibly committed to anything he wanted to do. But the irony of it was that he was quite humorous.
Yes.
Even when he had nature, he would be the first to bring in a joke, a fun that will ease whatever tension
he may
have created.
Yes.
Túnjí will not be late to rehearsal. He will not condone your being late to rehearsal.
Why will he?
He will not, agree. He will not so that you feel pleasant Tuji won't do that. But this made a lot of people to misunderstand him. Some would think he was proud. Some would think he was being driven by ego. Some would think he's. But what you find out is the moment the two of you got out of the world, he will be the best, most, charming person you can ever encounter. That was it. So that today, when he died, and I shared the sad news with a friend of mine, he said, "She already told that she besides the should make metal left." What was the wife went to do Omogoro in the UK. So I was in Abuja. Tuji said that I should leave my hotel to come and spend some time in the house. So when in the morning he wanted to prepare breakfast, said the wife wasn't home. It was only two of us at home. He said, "Ijo, that's the village I come from." So I called his own village. He called me Ijo. He said, "Ijo, how many slices of yam will you eat?" I said, "Well, maybe 3 or 4. I don't, maybe today, I don't have a dog, so no waste." I said, 3. So when my friend now caught, I said, what he had was lump. This of bread, yam. Is a combo? This slice in the show. That was so an idea of slice. So when I told that person I said, "That's the friend that died, though." He said, "Wow."
Oh my God.
You see, that was the kind of person Tunji was. Amen. Amen.
Orí Aloore la wà. Nílé iṣẹ́ ìgbóhùnsáfẹ́fẹ́ tó kalẹ̀ sí Ministry of Information ní Secretariat Wambi l'Ọ̀yọ́ State. Tẹ́ ẹ bá fẹ́ pàdé wa, ẹ lè lọ sí www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio. Lórí YouTube, ẹ lè lọ sí Aloore Radio. Website www.aloreradio.com. On your mobile apps, available on your Play Store. Then the number to call here, if you need to reach out to us, maybe you're looking to advertise your product of any sort, or you may need to have some inquiry to make. The number to call is 090-3985-3731. Please call us anytime you feel like calling us. Our staff here will be available to answer to your call. Don't forget to tune in again to these other venues that you can reach us at on Facebook, on YouTube, your website, and your mobile apps. Our governor in Oyo State is very much concerned about how to make tourism the way to go. Now, do you see any form of tourism coming up in the course of celebrating our brother Tuji Fatilewa? How will you bring in tourism into this? I know for sure that people will be coming from all over the world. You are going to be projecting, the event, streamline it. What would you say that people like that, what have they contributed to tourism in Oyo State, in Nigeria, and so on and so forth?
Thank you, sir. One thing we want to do with these events coming up next week, Thursday, October 26th, is we want to celebrate one of us, a guru in the industry who has departed. And on that day, because his family won't be able to come down, the following week we'll do the burial in Abuja.
Okay.
And there are a lot of colleagues too that are in Europe and America That is why we want to have an event where we celebrate. And those of us in Ibadan and those that are close by, Lagos, Ogun State, they will come down to Ibadan. And at the venue, significantly, that particular studio happened to be one of those studios we used in the past.
Okay. At NTA.
Yes, at NTA. With Obi Van and all of that, where we do
productions.
Live production
Okay.
to homes. So significantly, we're going to do that place up with all of us together celebrating our departed colleagues. We have a photo exhibition,
Okay.
which will be a kind of capture of his essence,
His life and times.
his life, and yes, the legendary figure that he is. Which will capture his starting days with NTA, with TSOS, which transformed to BCOS, pictures of him and colleagues on location. I mean, interestingly, he was also an actor, so he acted in some of his plays. We're going to showcase Torrents of Soweto. You know, we still have some of the video clips that we want to show. So that as we're doing all of this, some of his poems, which will be read out, we have reminiscences from friends and all that, and tributes from friends. Those that are on location and those that are in their various locations outside Nigeria or outside. Will be able to talk to us real time online. We're streaming live to Facebook, on Zoom. We will share out all those things. Let me also tell you that about 8 years ago, he called me up in Lagos and said, Tunde, you need to join me in Ibadan. I'm with Yomila Inka and Oju Adebite. This year wants us to come back home and do something. I said, what? He said, on this democracy. These are landmark achievements of Tunde Fatilewa. And then he wrote and directed The Right Honorable for this year. So we want to use this period to also showcase one or two episodes of this
some of his
series,
works.
some of his work, so that people who come around at NTA that time were able to see his life in pictures.
Okay. Yeah.
So that is what we plan to do.
Yeah, brother. Tell me, how are you celebrating Tunde Fatilewa? You want to talk about some of the people involved in the planning of the celebration, and what is it that is bringing to us in the USA?
Well, while he was alive and while still in the services of Oyo State, he contributed to the happiness of the citizens of the state, both in his drama productions, in his musical productions, that cater for a cross-section of the demographic, youth, students, population, and adults. As part of the preparation for this, I'm aware that Oju Adebite, a very famous broadcaster, a contemporary of Tunde, will be involved. And I would like to say too, that part of those who will be around to honor him is the Honorable Commissioner of this ministry, Prince Dr. Oyelade. I'm aware too that a former Chief Operation Officer of BCOS, a writer, a director, actor himself, Yomila Inka, Dr. Yomila Inka, is also involved in the arrangement. Many others like that. She too, small letter, Alamu, is also
Felix
part of the
Omoni,
celebration.
Ayo Thomas,
So there are quite, like I said, when we floated the platform,
Aki
Louis, yes.
When we floated the platform, over 80 people within 2 days registered to be part of it.
So you are bringing all these stalwarts to
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Both on location physically and online. They are all going to participate in the
event. Thank you very much. I'd like to talk a little bit about the role you played while you were director of NOA. in Ekiti State.
Yeah.
And then when you look at NOA today, are they really living up to expectation?
Oh yes, they are.
Good.
You see, I've been a very staunch defender of the National Orientation Agency. That's what NOA is,
Yes.
by the way.
Yes.
And I want to say that only this morning, it was in the news all over that the new minister for Information and National Orientation had a meeting with Mr. President yesterday. So when he came out and the media crew were asking him what it was he discussed with the president, he said yes, he had gone to tell the president that it is important that the National Orientation Agency be empowered to be able to get people
To reach out.
to people for them to renew connection with government, for them to restore their confidence in government. You see, and that's the way it is. Why people seem not to feel the efficacy and the presence of National Orientation Agency for now is because at its formation as MAMSA there,
Yeah, that's mass mobilization, research.
and the way it operated then, because it was under the military regime,
Yes.
so there was much funding available for its activities.
Okay.
And you know that military operated as a hierarchy. So there was the federal input, there was the state input, and there was the local government input. Presently, NOA still has offices in all the local governments in the country.
Okay.
But the visibility has gone.
Yes.
For example, there are 33, I think there are 33 local governments in Oyo State.
Yes.
In the days of MAMSA, each of the local government had a car and had a mounted combi bus.
Was this from the state coffer or from the
That's what it was federal.
Okay.
And again, because the Baba, the Oga on top, will give instruction to the state do their own part.
Yes.
And will give instruction to the local government.
And they made the fund available too.
No, well, because they knew the
importance.
Yes, they had to do it. But since we came into the civilian regime, you find out that
When you served, it was under civilian regime.
Yes.
Okay. So, okay, go ahead.
I was going to get there.
Yes.
What you find out now is that it now requires the personal touch of the director to generate required relationship with the state. In a situation where the federal government belongs to a different party, the state belongs to another party, the local government probably belongs to another party, there will be no synergy.
And we need synergy.
There will be no synergy. So, and the state, the federal, so in those days, if the government of the state level is not friendly with the director, you say, Abuja lo ran yin se, lo ba Abuja kan fun yin lowo, owo ti a to ana nihin. Whereas that was not the spirit behind the establishment of NOA. So that's why I said positively they are still working. But ìwọ̀n eku ni wọ́n.
Ibi tí eku bá lọ́wọ́ wọn ló fi bọ́ jùlọ. Ẹ ṣé gan ni a máa padà sórí yẹn. Bóyá I think we will have to call you back to come and shed more light on what actually should the role of NOA, National Orientation P, with all those things around us that we don't seem to see. Àwọn àgbóngbò mú wa bẹ̀tà rí nígbà tá a rí yàn ṣe ojú wa sí ẹ ṣì máa padà wá láti wá bá a sọ̀rọ̀.
Ọlọ́run ṣọ́ wa jù
mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ mo fẹ́ bí ní kankan ọmọọba Aloore. There was that very popular, if you like, TV commercial. Was it Mama Na Boy?
Yeah.
In the days of MTN. You were the producer of that,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
What was the motive behind Mama Na Boy?
Well, that time we were the farthest. We had the farthest network in the country.
You mean MTN?
MTN,
Okay.
and we had gone beyond.
Were you working for MTN then?
I
What's it
was
like,
working with the advertising
Agency.
We had
exactly.
that's the TPWA concept,
Okay.
and I was the head of production. And so we were now going beyond just the cities. What MTN did then, we connected the major cities first, and then we used the express routes to connect towns and villages. So MTN was now going into the villages, the hinterlands. So we needed to do ads that would connect the cities with the villages that time. So we came around with that script where we had someone living in the city, a guy living in the city who of course needed to call the mother. The mother too knew that the daughter-in-law was pregnant and all of that.
Suspected.
Just to connectivity. Remember that time was when we had your best connection as a PFO.
Okay.
Yeah, so
okay,
we needed to have an ad that would connect, that would say, look, wherever you are.
Because
MTN.
I could recall that that advert got across every part of the country then, and it became a cause of study. Even some students at the University of Ibadan, who were very much interested in what you did there. Now, what are you still doing now? Are you still into some of this production?
Yes. What I do basically is I still produce. I do more of advertising and documentary nowadays, but I also do content. One other thing is, I don't know if you know that Tunji Fatilewa was into music as well. So
Yes.
I also gained from that, apart from poetry. So I produce music as well. So I do talent hunts. I bring about development.
Is there any
talent
musician in
and all
particular that you are handling at the moment?
I wouldn't want to mention name now because
yes.
we're still sorting and trying to, in good time, because I'm trying to give back to my community as well. So I'm discovering a lot of people from in information, and I'm trying to
You are from
develop
Sure,
them.
yeah.
I'm trying to develop some
Wow.
talents too that I know could.
Well, whatever it is you are doing, please bear in mind that here in Oyo State, we are very much interested in knowing what is currently ongoing in the entertainment industry. And the fact that you people are bringing all these stalwarts in the broadcasting, in the entertainment world, to come and celebrate our brother, Mr. Tunji Fatilewa, we really appreciate that you chose Ibadan of all places to come and do this. And particularly NTA, that was WNTV in those days. Thank you very much for thinking of Oyo State. What do you like to tell the people of Oyo State in the light of Mr. Tunji Fatilewa's life and times?
Is it me?
Yes.
Well, be focused, especially the youths. Be determined and believe that you do not get what you deserve from life. You get what you demand of
From
life.
Like
And
some
that was
people,
what
some people will
Tunji.
put it this way. In business, you don't get what you deserve. You get what you negotiate.
Oh yes, that's demand. That's the same thing.
Interesting.
I would also like to say something about that, because I remember one of those times, the first meetings I had with the Fasilewa, he had something behind his chair, which he
Yes.
also had at Bodija.
Okay.
It happened to be his favorite
motto.
quote.
Quote.
It was his motto. I later realized it belonged to his own boss too, a senior colleague.
What was that quotation?
The inscription was, "Many has initiative.
Many
have
initiative.
Yes,
Have
many have
Initiative.
initiative. Others have finitiative.
What
Which
a
is very
coinage.
deep. Yes,
Yes.
Wow.
which is what I want us to gain from, because many have initiative. You will have a brilliant idea that you put together in life, especially our youths. But what is important is that
how you finish,
how you
end
finish
it.
it, how you bring it to fruition, and
So ìbẹ̀rẹ̀ kì í ṣe oníṣẹ́.
Ẹni bá
Ẹni tó bá
padà
ṣe dópin la máa yìn.
bẹ́ẹ̀
And torí ọjọ́ èní, torí àmọ̀gbà tá máa lọ,
bẹ́ẹ̀ni
àtúbọ̀tán ṣe pàtàkì.
pàtàkì bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Kí la fi sílẹ̀, kí làwọn ọmọ wa máa dé bá, kí làwọn ọmọ tó ń bọ̀ generation tó ń bọ̀ lẹ́yìn wa, kí ló máa dé bá, ó ṣe pàtàkì gan. Like one of the 7 principles of highly effective people is beginning with the end in view.
Yes.
What you know you're not going to finish, don't even bother
Don't bother to.
starting it. Wow. So that's one thing that I can take home myself about this creative energy that we have just lost. And may God in His infinite mercy continue to support, us in all our endeavor, and
Amen.
then the gap that He has left be filled. We pray to God that the vacuum will not be there forever. Thank you very much for coming on the program, Mr. Adele Murakiyo.
My pleasure. Thank
It
you.
is so nice to have you. So by next week Thursday by 11 a.m. up until what time?
Next
11 a.m.
So 2,
Thursday.
2, 3.
11 a.m.
Are you
to
inviting members of the public
Oh,
or
sure,
strictly
yes.
by
We have
invitation?
Invitation.
Strictly by invitation.
But people can join. We will make the link available
Yes.
for people to join online.
Online.
So what are we expected to see happen on that day? How are you celebrating his life?
Well, the general ambience is what I described earlier, which
Okay.
is where we'll do a photo exhibition of his works
Okay.
and some of his clips of his works as well.
Mhm.
Friends and colleagues coming around to pay tributes to him,
Mhm.
and also reminiscences of the past.
Okay.
And TF liked music, especially reggae music
Mhm.
and some of the local artists as well. We will have the ambience music of what he liked, the kind of music that he liked going on.
Sonny Okosu.
Sonny Okosu, yeah.
wow, those are some of his
King.
favorite
Those are some of his favorite
musicians.
musicians that will play while at the event.
Thank you so very much. And Ọlọ́run ní ti jẹ́ kí ti wá yá báyìí. Ọlọ́run á lọ ra ẹ̀mí wa.
Àmín.
Àwọn ọmọ tó fi sílẹ̀, ààbò Ọlọ́run á máa dájú lórí wọn. Ìyàwó ẹ̀ náà Ọlọ́run á máa fàbọ̀ ẹ̀ bò.
Amen.
Gbogbo wa a ò ní fọjọ́ ọlọ́jọ́ lọ. Ẹ ṣé gan tẹ́ wá sórí ètò yìí. God bless you, and I wish you safe journey back to your respective places.
Thank you very much.
So bó ṣe rí lẹ ti gbọ́ ẹ̀ o, a dúpẹ́ yí pé àwọn ẹni wa tí wọ́n wá ṣe àṣẹ̀yìndì fún èèyàn wa kan tó papòdà pé a pè wọ́n sórí ètò yìí wọ́n dẹ̀ wá. Ọ̀gbẹ́ni Délé Morakiyo wọ́n wá láti Èkìtì láti wá bá wa ṣe àjọyọ̀ yìí. Ọmọọba Túndé Láòyè àwọn náà wọn àsọpá kéré wọ́n wá bá wa ṣe àjọyọ̀ ètò yìí. A gbàdúrà yìí pé Ọlọ́run á jẹ́ kí ọdún ó jìnnà síra wọn. I think this is where we are going to draw the curtain today on the program Oju Inu Agba Oye, Aloore Radio, that you can meet with us on www.facebook.com/Aloore Radio, YouTube Aloore Radio, on your website www.alooreradio.com. Mobile apps available on Play Store, and then the number to call for any reason you may wish to get to us, it's 09039853731. Here we come to the end of the program today. While I say a big thank you to the Honorable Commissioner of Information, who is our chief host in this station, and that is Prince Dotun Oyelade, and our able governor, Engineer Sheyi Makinde. Thank you for hosting us on this program, and we hope to meet you again next week when we'll be coming your way. My name is Tunde Odunlade. With us today, we have Mr. Sakade Shina with us in the house, and we have Miss Bisade Phillips. DG has been there by the consul and other assistants in the studio. We thank you all very much for this day and hope to see you next week.